Ed Gonzalez, Harris County Sheriff, joined here by members of our District 2 patrol team. We have Sergeant Carizales, we have Sergeant Parrish, and Lieutenant Wainbright. Uh, all of them and their teams have been out here this morning handling the scene. They've done a very good job, so I commend them all. What we know this morning is that an individual approached a home. We're still trying to confirm if he had opened the door or unlocked the door or had just pulling back and forth on the doorknob. It alarmed a teen male that was inside the home. He's, we're told, 14 years of age. He was able to retrieve a pistol and walk to the doorway. Again, we don't know if the doorway was open or unlocked, or if he unlocked it from the inside. Those are details that we're trying to figure out. But the male spotted an unknown male that was outside the doorway at some point, and he began to fire multiple shots, several shots, at least 5 or 6 shots, striking the male, and the male was pronounced deceased here on the scene. Some of the additional background information we received is that there may have been at least 2 other calls just prior to that one of neighbors reporting that someone was either trying to break into homes or pulling on the doorknobs as well, and that happened around the same sequence of time as well. It's our understanding that the 14-year-old was at home alone at the time simply because an adult that was in the home had just left the house to drop off some other kids. Father was away at the time as well, at work, I believe. And so the 14-year-old happened to be by himself inside the house at the time. We don't know if perhaps, again, if we go with the possibility that the male was trying to break into the home, then it's possible that he may have spotted people leaving the home and was trying to make entry into the home. Some additional pieces of evidence that we have is that the deceased male was wearing a pair of gloves and also has a backpack that sometimes is indicative of somebody that is trying to break into homes. Again, not drawing that conclusion, I'm just stating possibilities here. Again, it'll be a full investigation and really try to piece everything together. Everything that I'm sharing right now is just strictly preliminary at the time. Additionally, members of our homeless outreach team that are very active in this part of our county came by the location at just a cursory look. It appeared to them that this was a homeless male that they've dealt with in the past in the area, was familiar to them, but again, he's been pronounced deceased. It's a very traumatic situation out here when you're talking about a 14-year-old having used deadly force and in protection of himself and his property. And then obviously, the individual, it's still a loss of life, and I'm sure they may have family somewhere. And so, our condolences go out to everybody involved, and just want to commend our team for getting out here and doing a good job of securing the scene. It still are very preliminary. It's just in the beginning stages, so we have to piece it together. That's just some of the preliminary information we have at this time.
Was the 14-year-old in custody at all?
He's cooperating right now, he and his family, so we don't deem him as being in custody. They're cooperating right now, and we want to obviously get their story, and then investigators here that are arriving on scene will then follow up next steps to determine what ultimately happens to the 14-year-old. But everybody's cooperating right now.
Sheriff, you referenced that there were some neighbors who also saw this man. What he was going to the door? What is it that they?
Yes, we don't know specifically it was the same individual, but making that assumption for a bit, that's the understanding is that we received a couple calls early this morning, maybe within that same time frame, with similar reports of reporting that somebody was, I believe, trying to turn doorknobs or trying to pry, trying to make entry into homes. I don't know how specific those calls were or what they shared, but very similar to what transpired here this morning.
And similar burglaries, burglary people were shot.
I'm sorry?
There were this makes 2 events where burglars have been shot.
Mhm.
Do you want to speak about that?
Well, again, specific to this situation, I guess if individuals are, feel they have a right to protect their home, they have a right to feel safe in their home, and obviously, at some point, if individuals feel threatened or concerned, then obviously they're going to make the decisions they need to protect their property. Obviously, law enforcement can't be there at every home, at every situation. Ironically, there is a sign on the gate that basically says that something to the effect that if intruders will be met with force. And so I think it's very clear on the front gate. And so, again, I mean, look, folks are being tired of being victimized at the end of the day. Burglaries, thefts, and things like that. A lot of times there is a lot of, uh, for lack of a better word, petty thefts that do occur, kind of thefts, especially around the freeway corridors when you have the presence of a large street population or homeless population or drug activity going on. Here on Children Road, down the road, we clean the underpass just because a lot of people congregate to try to use drugs and other things. And again, I'm not saying that that's indicative of every person that may find themselves without a home. I'm just saying, as a general statement, that a lot of thefts tend to occur like that. And look, people are tired of being victimized, and theft is something that's very frustrating. In this case, a 14-year-old was at home by himself at the time, and obviously felt this was the best decision. So, we'll have to investigate it more fully.
You mentioned a couple of phone calls that were made to 911 prior to the shooting. Did one of the calls come from that house?
No, it's my understanding that as soon as it happened, basically we received the call after the fact because the adult, I believe it might be the homeowner's girlfriend that resides here, had dropped off the kids, and upon returning was met with this situation that had just transpired, and then immediately called and reported the shooting at that point. So there wasn't really a time to call when the 14-year-old, again, became alarmed. We don't know who opened the door or the person opened the door and made entry. Those facts are being worked out, but that's when he opened fire.
This is obviously a traumatic experience, right? We have a teenager here. How is he doing at this point? You said that he's cooperating, but how is he?
Yeah, I haven't had much contact with him. Again, our team, I commend them for just keeping the situation calm and making sure that we could keep him calm. And so commend Sergeant Carizales and the others just to make sure he's okay. Just a quick glance that I looked, he seemed to be okay. But again, we know that mentally these things are traumatic. No teenager home wakes up in the morning and thinks this is going to happen. And so, very scary situation. And who knows what could have happened if the person was indeed trying to make entry, and in just moments earlier there were other siblings in the home as well, and so very scary situation for all involved.
Around what time did this happen, Sheriff?
Do you know approximately what time?
Yes, sir. 6:55.
Okay, at approximately 6:55 a.m., just before 7 a.m.
And those calls earlier from other neighbors came in around the same time, you said, a little prior to that?
They came in around 6:15 to 6:20 of a male matching the gentleman's description that he was kicking on the door requesting money, and it dropped approximately 3 calls, and then this call later dropped at 6:55.
Do you have an age potentially of
Description?
Yeah, alleged.
Ma'am,
sexuality.
I would say anywhere from late 20s and early 30s, ma'am.
Hispanic male?
Yeah, Hispanic male.
Hispanic male, 20 to 30. We'll work with the Institute of Forensic Sciences for the positive identification, and we'll try to share that later today. So yeah, there you have it. There were other reports of similar things, and again, male appears to be wearing gloves and has a backpack. That many times, that is something that we do see with potential thieves, is that they're trying to conceal.
Did the alleged suspect have a weapon on him, or was there a weapon found on him at all?
None that were visible.
Correct. Our jobs, when we saw that he was no longer have signs of life, we don't body due to the fact of evidence, so we left him alone, man. But as of right now, we don't know if he has any weapons in the backpack or on his persons, because we did not search him.
He does have a backpack, I believe, so it's possible he may have had some type of weapon on him. Maybe not. We don't know that, or we don't know.
Did the juvenile say that this guy said anything through the door? Was he just pulling and pushing on the door? Did he say anything?
I don't know. I think our investigative team just got here, so they'll be. I don't want to speak to what he may have said with our initial contact, just to maintain the integrity of their interviews and any statements he may have made initially, but we'll just wait for our homicide investigators to indicate what he may have said.
We don't know whether the juvenile said something back.
No, we don't know if there were like verbal engagement or anything like that. We don't know.
Sheriff, are there any surveillance at that home
I
that
don't.
you're aware of?
I don't know if there's any there, but we always still canvass and ask the neighbors as well. As you can see, there's a lot of folks out here. It was early enough that people may have been walking or commuting to work or school, and and hopefully they saw something or heard something or could shed some light.